A couple videos ago, we talked about why every playoff team will win the Stanley Cup, and when we got to Vancouver, this is what I said. This is a really good team that's well coached. I think they've got a real shot as long as they don't get caught sleeping and underestimate a team like Nashville, for example, then get outworked and beaten by them because they weren't as hungry as them. Now, obviously, learning the day of that your star goaltender could miss the entire first round after he was great in game one is a huge blow and definitely impacted the team. But Nashville was just hungrier yesterday, man. They just wanted that game so bad. The Canucks did push, though, and I will say that if that shot pass ends up going in the net instead of off the post, I think the momentum completely shifts and the game ends up getting tied. Wasn't meant to be, though, and Nashville was just more determined than Vancouver at both ends of the ice yesterday. A lot of people are looking directly at this play, though, where Pettersson misses the wide open net, puts it on the side, falls to his knees, and then looks up to the heavens. He knows he should have had that one. Elias Pettersson puts this thing in like 99 times out of 100. It's no secret he hasn't had a great start to the playoffs this year, and I think we got to talk about this because if you watch this channel, you know I think very highly of this player, and Rick Tocchet postgame answered it beautifully, I think. Yes, he wants to see more from Pettersson. He wants to see him be more decisive and shoot the puck more, but he also mentioned that this adversity for him in this situation, high pressure playoff spot, is really good for him, and I totally agree. I've seen people already writing this kid off like, oh, he signed the big money contract right before the playoffs so he could disappear, now he doesn't care anymore, or because he's gone pointless in 2 playoff games. And look, I'm defending the guy, but we got to be honest about this too. He's been bad in those 2 playoff games, but based on that alone, some people are already ready to say he's not built for the playoffs. I know in the bubble it was different. When you're not playing in a pressure cooker environment in front of fans, it's not the same at all, I get that, but it was still playoff hockey, and Pettersson was great in that playoff run in 2020. He showed up almost more than anybody else during that playoff run. I would argue he was one of, if not the best Canuck during that run, other than like the goalies. I really don't think we're talking about a guy who's a regular season merchant here. He's got it in him. It's just that his confidence right now is not the highest, and he's learning, he's adjusting. And there's also the physicality aspect of his game. I mean, over the course of his career in Vancouver, he's been willing to dish it out, and I think that'll serve him well long term in a playoff setting. Again, it's okay to say that he hasn't been good enough in these first 2 games and they need more from him. That's totally true, but it's far too early to call this contract a miss and to criticize him as a playoff player in general just based on these last 2 games and even this past season. Canucks fans know their stuff. I feel like if they're watching the games, they know that, and honestly most hockey fans anyways, I feel like they know that, but I also feel like there's people who look at McDavid putting up 5 assists in game 1, or Matthews scoring the game-winning goal in a dramatic game 2 against Boston, or even like Mark Scheifele having 4 points in his first 2 games in Winnipeg, and because Pettersson hasn't done that, and they look at the empty net clip and it's like, oh, this guy's not a playoff player, he's a Casper in the playoffs. It's like, give it a minute. I mean, maybe that is true. I don't know. Me personally, I don't think so. I've seen enough from him to know that he has it in him to be a good playoff player. But I want to see how this unfolds here because I think it's going to be really interesting to follow him as a player throughout this series. Honestly, as we see him develop and move through the series, I might even make a part 2 to this video if that's something you guys might want to see. The Canucks are going to need him though, so we'll see how this goes. They can't get out-hungered by the Preds again. Not for 3 of the next 5 anyway, so we'll see what happens there. But I know you guys want more Canucks content. I've been reading the comments and seeing that. I'll be making it. Thank you guys so much for commenting and liking, by the way. I really appreciate it. Subscribe if you're new. I'll see you in the next one. You're awesome.